Putin humiliated again. Russian submarine breaks down in NATO's backyard. Breaking news out of NATO waters. One of Putin's prized submarines has just broken down in humiliating fashion. What was supposed to be a show of Russian strength has turned into global embarrassment, and NATO is watching every second of it unfold. Stay with me, because the details of this failure are even more shocking than you think. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss these critical updates from around the world. We cover the stories that the mainstream headlines often leave out, and trust me, you'll want to stay informed as global tensions rise. Now, let's dive right into today's shocking development. Putin's submarine, a symbol of Russian power, stranded in NATO's backyard. Now, let's put this in perspective. Submarines are supposed to be the crown jewel of Russia's deterrent strategy. In theory, these vessels lurk in the depths, undetected, capable of launching devastating strikes on Western targets. They are supposed to be untouchable, invincible symbols of Russian might. But a submarine that breaks down during operations is the exact opposite. It's a liability, a giant metal coffin trapped under the sea, and in this case, a major embarrassment for Moscow. NATO, of course, immediately took notice. For the alliance, this wasn't just a mechanical issue. It was a sign that Russia's intimidation game is faltering. Witnesses on the ground and military analysts who follow every move in the North Atlantic described how NATO monitoring systems quickly picked up the Russian submarine's problems. Think about that. A supposedly stealthy vessel, meant to disappear under the waves, ended up being exposed right under NATO's nose. Every move, every distress signal, every tugboat sent to assist, it all became part of the spectacle. For NATO, it was like watching their rivals stumble in slow motion. For Putin, it was another chapter in a long list of humiliations. This isn't the first time Russia's Navy has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Many remember the tragic sinking of the Kursk submarine back in 2000, when a torpedo malfunction led to one of the most devastating naval accidents in modern history. That disaster still haunts the Russian Navy. But even in the years since, smaller incidents have piled up. Fires on ships, collisions, breakdowns, and even desertions by sailors fed up with poor conditions. The submarine fiasco near NATO waters is just the latest reminder that the Russian Navy struggles to live up to its propaganda. So why is this happening now? The answer lies in a mix of overextension and neglect. The war in Ukraine has drained Russia's military budget, forcing cutbacks in maintenance and modernization. Sanctions imposed by the West have restricted access to critical technology, making it harder for Russia to keep its aging submarines and ships in working condition. At the same time, the Kremlin has pushed its navy to perform more aggressive patrols in sensitive areas, hoping to send a message of strength. But you can't bluff forever. Eventually, the cracks show, and in this case, they showed in the most public and humiliating way possible. NATO, meanwhile, wasted no opportunity to highlight the incident. Officials pointed out that the alliance's ability to track, monitor, and react to Russian naval movements is sharper than ever. Exercises in the North Atlantic and the Arctic have trained NATO navies to handle exactly these kinds of situations. While Russia's submarine was floundering, NATO's message was clear. The alliance is united, ready, and far more capable at sea than the Kremlin wants to admit. This incident, then, becomes more than just a breakdown. It becomes a strategic propaganda win for NATO. And make no mistake, perception matters. Naval power is as much about psychology as it is about hardware. A submarine lurking unseen can terrify an enemy into caution. But a submarine that breaks down and needs rescuing, that doesn't inspire fear, it inspires ridicule. It tells the world that Russia is not invincible, that its threats can be hollow, and that NATO's confidence is justified. For the sailors on board, the situation must have been terrifying. Imagine being trapped inside a steel tube, under immense pressure, knowing your vessel is malfunctioning and your enemy knows exactly where you are. Reports suggest that emergency protocols were activated and support ships had to be dispatched. That alone defeats the entire purpose of stealth. Submarines are meant to operate in silence, in secrecy, never revealing their position. But the moment you need a rescue tug, the entire mission is compromised. NATO didn't even have to lift a finger. Russia humiliated itself. Now let's zoom out. This isn't just about one submarine. It's about what the incident reveals about the state of the Russian military as a whole. For months, experts have been pointing out that Russia's resources are stretched thin. The war in Ukraine consumes manpower, funding, and equipment at an unsustainable rate. Air power, ground forces, logistics, they're all under strain. The Navy, already the neglected branch compared to the Army, is now bearing the brunt of years of underfunding and sanctions. The result is plain: a Navy that can't project power without exposing its own weakness. And that weakness is being exploited by NATO. Over the past year, NATO navies have increased their presence in the North Atlantic, the Baltic Sea, and the Arctic Circle. The United States, the United Kingdom, Norway, and other allies have poured resources into anti-submarine warfare, ensuring that if Russia does try to flex its undersea muscles, NATO is ready to counter. Exercises have simulated submarine hunts, advanced sonar systems are in place, and maritime patrol aircraft keep constant watch. So when Russia's submarine broke down, NATO wasn't just an observer, they were a witness to a larger strategic failure. Let's also consider the domestic angle for Putin. At home, the Kremlin desperately tries to maintain the image of strength. Propaganda broadcasts boast about hypersonic missiles, nuclear submarines, and an invincible military machine. But every time reality contradicts that narrative, the cracks in Putin's story widen. Russian citizens aren't blind to these failures. They know when promises don't match outcomes. And in an authoritarian system, where legitimacy rests on the illusion of strength, these humiliations chip away at the very foundation of Putin's power. Critics inside Russia are already whispering that the Navy is a money pit, that resources poured into maintaining prestige vessels are wasted when those vessels can't even complete basic missions. Some analysts even suggest that Russia's submarine fleet is a ticking time bomb, one malfunction away from another disaster like the Kursk. Meanwhile, NATO is more than happy to amplify those doubts, pointing to this incident as proof that Moscow's ambitions are bigger than its capabilities. The bigger question now is, what does this mean for the future? For NATO, it means validation. The alliance's investments in maritime security are paying off. Its ability to monitor and counter Russian moves is intact, and its unity is strong. For Russia, however, it raises serious questions about whether it can afford to keep playing this game. Submarines are expensive, maintenance is grueling, and every breakdown is not just a technical failure, but a geopolitical embarrassment. Will Putin double down, pouring more resources into fixing and upgrading the fleet, or will he quietly scale back these high-risk operations to avoid further humiliation? That's the dilemma facing the Kremlin right now. Neither option is appealing. Spend more, and you drain an already struggling economy. Pull back, and you concede the narrative to NATO. One thing is certain: this incident will be studied closely by military planners across Europe and beyond. Submarine warfare is one of the most secretive domains of modern conflict. Every malfunction, every mishap provides invaluable data to adversaries. NATO now has a fresh case study in how Russia's Navy operates under stress, how it responds to emergencies, and how far it's willing to go to cover up failure. In the end, this breakdown wasn't just a mechanical issue. It was a geopolitical event. It reminded the world that Putin's military is not invincible, that Russia's Navy has serious limitations, and that NATO's vigilance is paying off. It was, in every sense, another humiliation for a leader who built his image on projecting power. So here's the bottom line. Putin wanted to flex Russian naval power, but instead he handed NATO a propaganda victory on a silver platter. The world is laughing at Russia's humiliation, and the cracks in Moscow's military machine are impossible to ignore. But I want to hear from you. Does this submarine breakdown prove Russia's Navy is overrated? Or do you think Putin will double down to save face? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters here. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit that like button and share this video so more people see what's really happening. Until next time, stay sharp, stay aware, and I'll catch you in the next video.